Okay.
All right, thank you.
So I've got some beads strung on my cord here, and I'm using this this white cord, which I don't know that I would normally use, but I thought it was a little bit easier to see actually when I was trying out different ones with the camera here. So I like to leave at least a 6-inch tail for tying off the necklace or attaching it to a clasp or something when I'm done. And I always have such a heck of a time with that first chain. I don't know why, but oh, today's my lucky day. I didn't. Okay, so um, as you get used to this, it becomes easy to hold several beads in your hand at one time. But when I was just learning, I found it easiest to just bring up one at a time. And you just have to kind of pull it, I hope you can see that, around the bead.
Is that a slip stitch that you just did?
I don't know, crochet people.
Yeah. Dorothy, Joanne, was that a slip stitch?
I think it was just a single crochet, wasn't it?
Single crochet, yeah, I think that's what it is. That's kind of the only thing I know. So I don't do anything else with crochet, but I love making these necklaces. So after I've secured the bead there, I usually will do one more just crochet without the bead before bringing in another one. But I'm also gonna demo in a minute not leaving a one between and to show you what that's like. But if I'm using these big beads, you know, they need a little bit of space between. So there's the second one.
So it's every other.
Yeah, I think of it as like I secure the bead and then I stitch, and then I secure a bead and then I stitch.
Got it.
Or is it just a chain?
Yeah, it's just a chain.
So even
not really. So it'd be a chain stitch.
This is not
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like a chain stitch.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just part of the chain. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like kind of a goofy looking strand here, but it just kind of shows, you know, so those are really close together and they're big beads. They're actually not that much farther apart than they were just strung on here, which is quite different from the other samples that I'm going to show you. So, but you can see, you know, it takes quite a bit of cord, just like it does for any other knitting or crochet. So that's kind of the basics. And then I just want to show you how you can use a variety of materials. So let's see, I think I'll just show you the samples first here. So I've got this one here, and this uses a big variety of beads. So I've got some seed beads, some crystals, some gemstones, and it's still in a pattern, but there's a lot of variety here. And this material, this is let's see, this is this really soft, it's like silk. I think it's called Silk something, the brand. I put it in that that list I sent you, Karen.
Can you put, Tonia, could you put that, the image of the spool kind of center in the camera so we could kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
No, that's okay. Just to see what it is.
Yeah, this is the finest material that I have sampled with. So this is, I think, like it said, 0.34 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really fine, but it makes a really pretty necklace. That's what I used for this, and I'm also grabbing another one here. This too. Isn't that pretty? This is like the most delicate, I think. So this is just some simple seed beads also. And crystals.
To get it up in that center of the camera there, for some reason I'm seeing it at the bottom of the screen. There we go.
Let me move this one out of the way too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 seed beads and 1 crystal type. I
Mhm.
think those are called, I forgot the name of them, but yeah.
Rondelles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the shorter ones that I've done. So this is just, you know, a single strand. It's not doubled up or anything when you wear it. So it does have a clasp on it.
Hmm.
And I think all the rest that I have to show you are considerably longer and don't have a clasp and are just meant to be doubled up 2 or 3 times. So such as this one. So this one, this is 2 loops.
I think this would be fun doing like random beads that you have left over. You just throw them on
Yeah.
and see what happens, nilly-willy. That's kind of my style.
Here's I love this one, and I'm going to show you this material too. So this doesn't this look like a chain?
It really,
Literally, like, you know, a metal chain.
yeah, wow.
So this is this metallic thread,
Hmm.
and it, when you work with it, as soon as you cut it, like, it's frayed right away. So I just take a little bit of Elmer's glue. And
Mine does. That's the same thread I have exactly, except mine's silver and it just unravels like crazy.
yes, and that makes it like impossible to get all your beads on.
Yeah.
So I just make this into as round, but, you know, tight as of a point as I can, and let it dry for a couple minutes. And then I'm able to string all the beads on, seed beads and whatever else. So yeah, this comes in gold and silver, like you said you have. And I just love it. I think that effect is really pretty. So this is a really long one also. And
It's
then,
just one long length. That you
yeah, yeah, it's probably about, I bet it's about 72 inches altogether.
If I wanted to do a short one, about how many beads are we talking, do you think?
If like that, like this one, this is still long enough that I can put this, this is probably, I don't know, 24 inches or so. I can put this over my head without undoing the clasp if I want to. And I have, let's see. I have 24 of the rondelle beads here. And then however many, you know.
times 4.
seed
Times
beads.
4. 24 times 4. That's 100 and
Yeah.
something, right? Or not quite 100. Yeah. I'm so bad at math.
So yeah, it would be at least 100 seed beads, and then the 24 rondelle beads. And then there is, oh, here's a shorter one too. Yeah, this is a shorter one for sure. So this one has, I alternated between the gemstones and the seed beads.
Now, just to repeat, like if you could show the chain stitch process, because like
I will. I
Yeah.
want to show you these samples first, and then I'm going to actually demo a couple other ones that I have pre-strung a little bit.
Oh, cool.
So this had 30 beads plus 30 seed beads in between. And there is, yeah, a stitch between every bead on this. If that helps with the length. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, okay, so this one, this is about as long as that, that first one I showed you. So this has little seed beads and gemstones and drop crystals. And for this, I used the super lawn cord, which you would use in a lot of macrame and knotting. And this is completely synthetic, and it doesn't even really need to be melted at the end usually to string it on to your beads easily.
Where do you find your cording, your beautiful cording, Tonia?
Yeah.
Amazon.
Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Maybe I can ask me, we can get those links and I can send them to everybody.
Yeah,
Later.
yeah. You know what? Those links were in that that other email
Oh.
that I sent back to you. So I will send that to you again for
Oh,
sure.
the one that I missed from yesterday?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I have links to all these things there.
Okay, awesome.
So this stuff though, so like I said, it's really easy to string the beads on with. It's a little stiffer when it's done. It's not quite as supple as that fine silk stuff is, but still, it's super easy to use, and it comes in a ton of different colors. So this is the one I used here, this kind of blue steely gray. And okay, let's see what else. I've got, oh yeah, this is a fun one. This is like the gold fiber, but this is the silver like you have, Karen.
Oh, I like that one.
So these actually, they look like blown glass, but these are actually acrylic beads, the bigger colored ones with some glass seed beads in between. And this is another pretty long one too. So yeah, this is probably about 60 inches.
How long does it take you to make one of those?
Not long at all. Once the beads are strung, it takes me like between 15 minutes and a half hour at the most.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it goes really quickly once you are in the rhythm. But stringing the beads on takes as long as anything, I think.
And designing it and figuring out how you.
Yeah. This one I don't really like, but this is using that white one that white cord that I first showed you. It's just not my style, but this is another short one.
My daughter would love that, Tonia.
Really? I'll almost send it to you.
She loves white and gold.
This is one that I made with so I crocheted 3 different strands for this and then just connected them together.
Is that a crimp bead on the side, on the end?
Yes. Well, 3, 1 for each strand there.
Oh, great. That's
and
fun.
then I just did like a little, I don't know what you call that knot, like is that a lark's head knot? Anyway, at the end here.
Yeah, there is a name for it.
That's this material, which is just like the white one. It comes in a few colors too. This is the blue.
Looks like it's made in Japan.
It is, yeah.
Mm.
I think Panda something is the name. And then my last sample is to show you can use some larger beads too. This is like the blue-gray cord that I had, the Super Lawn in black. And these beads just had a hole in the center, but you know, they work just fine too. Kind of a more whimsical, casual look.
It's great. If you can string it, you can crochet it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what I discovered. I really tried to do a big variety to report back. So let's
Beautiful
see.
samples. Thank you.
Yeah. So here I was kind of measuring to see how long it would take. And then I thought, well, if you wanted to do that, if you didn't want to work off the spool for some reason, you could always put it on one of these. These are those spools like you get for the Kumihimo, you know? Yeah. So I just put this on here. But anyway, I just wanted to show the process I probably would do for real. Let's see. So I'll use the
that's a slip knot, right, that you're doing?
Yep, you start with the slip knot, 6 inches from the end. And do 1, okay. So I usually will keep probably about this many beads in my hand at a time. Tension's a little tight at the moment.
Is that a silk, kind of a silky kind of thread you're using?
You know, a little bit. That's what this is.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It does feel like silk. Actually, it might be a silk synthetic blend.
Hmm.
So when you said, you're using a bunch of leftover beads, that's kind of like what this strand is like. It's a thing of assorted beads.
I love those.
And I just wanted to see how long this one was. I can't remember. For those that were asking about the shorter ones.
I've got like 12 beads strung already. That's terrible. That's where
Have
I'm
you
at
ever
on
tried using wire to crochet with?
I haven't. I'm trying to think. What was I have. It's been a long time. I tried knitting with it also, and I just don't like it. It's just too hard for me.
And Joanne showed us a really neat sample of her. It was crocheted, right, Joanne? You had a
It was crocheted, but it was buttons I made. Yeah,
Yeah. That's I love that look.
but it was out of wire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hopefully she can show that. Maybe she'll show it after.
Yeah, if you have it, I'd love to see it. I edited a book on knitted wire jewelry many years ago, and I loved what the author did, but it was too frustrating for me. Oops.
So Tonia, if you could tell, so Tonia was actually. Can you tell your history about your book history as an editor for a major publisher?
Yeah, I was an editor of art and craft books for about 30 years. Northlight Books, if you have any Northlight books.
I do.
Oops, wrong way.
I always wanted you to be my editor for but my book thing didn't last that long.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about doing a book a couple times.
Yeah, and then Pottercraft got
This
a hold
was
of it.
wrong timing.
Yeah, and then the way they made the book proposal process was so easy. I did it. It just happened. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. But going back, I wish I'd done it with Northlight. So that's what I'm trying to. Yeah.
It was a fun job. I loved working on all those books. I learned so many things.
It's kind of like you've got this wide repertoire of skills, and you had like a direct connection with these people who were experts. And
yeah, it was like my own little workshop. Every book was my own private workshop.
Yeah. So how many are you skipping, or every other one on this one?
I'm just doing one stitch after each bead.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do if you decide you want to make more space between? You just make more chains?
Yes, or one good way to do that is to use those seed beads.
Oh, I see.
They make they make a really nice spacer. There's actually 3 seed beads in between each the 2 pearls.
That's great.
So I could do that. It's just chains, but I think it's a lot more interesting with the seed beads in there.
Yeah.
But those seed beads can be a lot more tedious to string on. So that's what takes so long sometimes.
I've got like a couple of beads, big beads, to see what happens. But it's just fun, like the stringing process. You can just have fun choosing your colors and.
Yeah. And start making gifts for next year.
Exactly. Well, it'd be nice to be able to wear jewelry again. You know, I haven't been wearing it.
Yeah.
Throw on a ring once in a while, and then it feels uncomfortable because I'm not wearing it. So,
I know.
or like I'm getting so used to being unadorned.
Getting that way with a lot of clothes too.
Oh,
You know, nicer clothes, just, oh gosh.
leggings are my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there'll be a different dress code at work afterwards, because people will balk at dressing up again.
Right.
Yeah,
Might
exactly.
be a revolt for.
Plus, for me, I've got 2 sizes. I'm not buying the next size up, so
Yeah. There's that too. I hear you.
just not doing it. I refuse. It's like I don't want to have like a closet or one box for the skinny clothes and one for the fat clothes. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna try doing it. I'm gonna try it, Tonya. I'm actually gonna try.
Crochet.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if it doesn't, if my body doesn't revolt. So that first chain stitch, and then you feed a bead on. Okay.
Yeah.
And chain, which is basically yarn over and pull through. That's it. That's a chain. Oh, fun. How cute. I like the silver thread. I'll show it to you when we're.
I love that thread. I didn't know if I would, you know, I didn't know if it would look kind of tacky or,
Your
but
gold is
it's actually
pretty.
quite pretty.
These would be great with those those diffuser pendants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or the air dry clay beads. That would be a fun one to do too. Didn't you make one like this with your air dry clay beads? I know you gave me one with the cement pieces.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't do any with air dried clay beads. I haven't really made enough of um, clay beads to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm almost out of beads here. I've been doing this like a lot of nights after work. I find it so relaxing and satisfying because it doesn't take long to finish one.
That's the neat. The tedious part is putting the stringing the beads. Like, but yeah, how fun.
That's why sometimes I'll just do that one day and then do the necklace the next day.
Ah, it is satisfying to see the beads kind of link up, into that little crochet stitch.
Mm-hmm.
Or the chain. This can be done with just regular crocheting too. If you just string your beads onto your yarn, right? You can just do single crochet and make a bracelet. You can probably make a band, like a beaded band.
Yep. I don't know why not.
I'm not going to be that. I won't be that ambitious, but.
Okay, so my beads are pretty close together here because I didn't use any seed beads as spacers in between. And let's see. Of course, these beads are different sizes, but
Those are so you just whip that right out.
so this is like 59 or 60 beads. And I'm going to measure it. And it is, if I stretch it out just a tiny bit, it's 20 inches.
So that can be good enough to put over your head.
No, you would need a clasp for that.
Ah.
I would with my head. And that's, I guess, part of the reason too I like making the longer ones, is then I can just tie the ends together. It's a little bit easier.
Rather than using findings.
Yeah, yeah. So of course, to finish it, you just put the end through the last loop to secure it. And then I was going to show you, this is what I strung on yesterday that took me a good half hour. And this is going to be pretty long.
Have you tried doing this technique with elastic thread?
No.
I wonder how that would work. It'd be
I don't
fun
know.
because then it would stretch if you wanted to make bracelets.
Yeah, you could put it over your head if you did that.
Yeah.
So here you can see this is a pretty long
Wow.
strand I had to string, and I did alternate, and I even alternated the seed beads. So some of them have a bigger seed bead and a smaller one in between, and some of them are just the same size. So
Well, it's pretty just like that.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I wanted to try something different here. Let's see. It's always so hard for me to do this first.
That's first shot.
Yes, I don't know why. I'm having better luck with it today, but still. Obviously, I am not a crochet expert. There we go. Okay, let's see. So you kind of have to think when you're stringing them on too, like how it starts and ends also, in like the pattern, especially if it's going to be tied together.
Yeah. See, it takes practice to get those beads in your hand without them,
It does, but I don't know. I learned it came pretty quick to me. I don't know. Within a couple projects I was ready to start just holding them in my hand, which obviously makes it much faster.
Yeah.
But, we're not always in a hurry either, right?
That's right.
You find the thread curls on you at all?
It does. If you kind of tug it a little bit, it straightens out. It kind of just depends on the cord too.
Yeah.
And sometimes the spool end, it gets really curled around, and then I'll have to secure the spool, like tie a knot or put a rubber band on it and hang it so it can unroll,
Okay. I'm using leather cord, so I just wondered.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried that.
Unless I bought 10 spools, I could only find it, I couldn't find those together unless I bought like a lot in one package. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing
that.
What thickness is your cord, Joanne?
It's the 1 millimeter, which is what.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I put that on there is because, otherwise it's so hard to find beads with a large enough hole to.
Oh, I didn't have trouble that. I had more trouble finding the 1 millimeter cord.
Yeah. Well, for leather too, especially.
Well, I wasn't looking for this. It's just, this is what I found.
Yeah. It's what you could get.
Yep.
I almost have a bracelet length.
Good.
That's how slow I am. But I think the elastic, I'm going to try elastic just to see if I can get a stretchy bracelet out of it.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah.
There was a
Especially
lot
for
of
a
1
bracelet.
millimeter. There was a lot of 1 millimeter for elastic.
Oh, yes, that's right. You can get silver and
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Well, I'm going to have to get on Amazon.
Just Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby's an hour from me, though.
Okay.
I haven't been to a Hobby Lobby in a year. And there's Michael. We have a Michael's and a Hobby Lobby. An hour. It takes an hour. The only crafts you could get here where I live is we have a little Walmart. Well, it's at Walmart, and they have a small craft section there in art.
Right.
I like going on. I like Fire Mountain Gems, and
Mm-hmm.
those places are just great for. Oh. Well, that's fun. How long is yours now, Tonia?
This silver one that I
Weird.
started. So it's about 5 or 6 inches, I guess.
What a different look when you have the strung, and then you have these, how it spreads out. Wow, that's.
Yeah, and what I wanted to experiment with was putting a stitch in between the seed beads versus not, and you can hardly tell the difference.
Huh.
Of course, this section I didn't put any stitches between the beads, and then this one I did, and this one has these tiny seed beads in between the bigger seed beads, but they end up looking just about the same, don't they?
Pretty much, but I could see a little bit more. They look nicer. The one on the right, the more recent one. So I guess that, from my perspective, I like the seed beads in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
looks a lot more. It looks a lot more constructed, or it has more body.
It almost looks more like the chain too.
Yeah.
Like a Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I'm committed now. I got a long way to go. Not sure I'll finish this today. No, I probably will.
That should be something you should do at your leisure and not try to rush. That's a it's going to be a long chain.
Yeah, it should be wrapped around at least 4 times, I would think.
You'll have to, when you do finish it, we can send a picture and we'll post it up on the blog.
Yeah, I will.
It's going to be fun seeing what people have done after. I think they're just they're really sweet little, trying to think of things other than jewelry, what you can do with the chains. I think you could be fun to make closures, like especially with the elastic. I'm really thinking elastic is going to be my friend on this. It's amazing when you can take out your work just by, if you're not careful, it just goes.
Just by blinking at it, yeah.
Yeah, which I did. Yeah. Then you got to start over. Oh, gosh.
And as you start working with it and you have a really long amount strung on like this, you have to keep, you know, working it down the spool. That takes a minute to pause and
Yeah.
scooch all those beads down too.
I like the Kumihimo disc as a just something to load your thread
Yeah.
on. Good tip. And have you ever decided when you were working that you wanted to extend it and have to stop your work and string some more beads? Is that possible to do that?
Yeah, that's when you have to just kind of guess as to how much more it's going to take you to finish it. So I've done that before where I wanted to put just like another section, you know, of the pattern on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just give myself like, you know, a good foot worth of material to make sure I don't run out. But because, you know, when you run out, you run out.
Yeah.
Looks like you're finished with your necklace there.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. It's not long enough. I was just trying to figure out, and I can't really tell here. I need to, I don't know if I put myself on full screen, then maybe I'll be able to see better what I'm
I'll
doing
try to
here.
spotlight it to
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm liking the cord with it. I think I need bigger beads for this cord. I just feel like they're too small.
Yeah, it's very bohemian. It looks
Well,
like.
that's kind of what I was looking for. I
Yeah.
wear a lot of sporty kind of stuff, so I was looking for something like that. But I'm not sure they show up enough, I guess. I think
I don't know what you mean. I think they kind of do. They're kind of like, it's kind of like this one.
Yeah, I like the hanging things off of it. I like, you know, something with stones or shells or probably something like that if I could find stuff that would work better than these. It's just what I had in the house.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. That's one thing I looked for when I was kind of shopping for beads for this. I wanted to make sure I had at least some that were that drop bead style just for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is twisting a lot, so I don't know if I would want to leave it twisted and just have that as part of it, or if I would just have to really keep pulling at it.
Or get it wet maybe and kind of stretch it out.
Yeah, you could do that. Definitely with leather, you could wet it and it kind of reforms itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's Dorothy doing?
Well, I was uncertain about the cord and, you know, didn't have much opportunity to shop. I didn't think about Amazon. I mean, that's my go-to place, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm watching. I'm getting some ideas.
Oh, great.
I made a bracelet once at a beaded shop and had to put, you know, the finding on, and I had a lot of trouble with that. So I like the idea of just tying it off and slipping it over my nail.
Yeah.
Tonia, do you have any suggestions? Okay, so you had the crimp bead is one way to tie the ends. Are there any other suggestions you might have for finishing?
Well, if you don't have crimp beads or have trouble using them, if you just tie a knot, you can, but then just make sure you put some jewelry glue on it, you know, so it doesn't pull out. But with this type of material, really, crimp beads are kind of the main solution, I guess.
Yeah. And it's good, like the different sizes, like if you get a really little tiny, you know, depending on the thickness of your thread or cord, it has to be, you don't want them so big, the crimp beads so big that it takes away from the you know.
Or they won't hold it. Sometimes if they're too big, you can't like really crush them enough to hold the.
Right.
Did you show one of those? Have you shown that yet?
What's that?
Did you show that crimp bead?
Oh, yeah, I have some. I can show you those. I can show you demo using one too. That's a good idea.
That would be good.
Grab some pliers.
You have a crimping pliers or do you have just regular pliers?
I have crimping pliers, but you can use regular pliers if that's all
Ah.
you have. Okay. So let's see. Move this out of the way for a minute. So, yeah, these are just some various sizes that they come in. Here's one of the larger sizes and then the smallest. So they vary significantly. This is probably more for like actual beading thread, like fishing line. And this is the largest. That's probably would work for this stuff here. Let's see.
What size are they?
The largest one is number 3. And the smallest I have is a 0. So they look just like regular silver beads. And let's see, I need a clasp here. Use this. Oh, that's not the right kind.
On mine, just so you can see on my screen, I have the 2 crimping tools.
Oh, yeah.
So this is called the regular crimper. Doesn't have a mark, but the mighty crimper does, and it's 2 different diameters. It will crimp. Well, this one will crimp the larger, and the smaller one will crimp the standard crimping beads. Those are handy to have.
All right, hold on. I got to grab one more thing.
I've never been able to successfully crimp with a set of pliers. I just can't do it. I don't know why. Maybe because I've only used the crimpers, but
With like with those
Like-
needle nose pliers?
like a needle nose plier.
I don't know. That's all I used to use a long time ago before I started going to CHA and seeing all the various things that were available.
All the goodies that you can.
Yeah, all the goodies.
Yeah, flat nose would probably work. Some flat nose, like micro. Like I have these micro crimpers.
Yeah, if they're, as long as it's fine enough.
Yeah.
Oops. Let's see if that works. Okay. So if this were the end, if I wanted to put this clasp on the end here, so I'd first thread on one of the crimp beads, and the crimp bead needs to be big enough for you to get the cord through it twice at least. This is plenty big. I could probably go with one size smaller, but I'll show you with this. So I thread the crimp bead on and then the clasp. And I snug it up to the work, and then I'm going to go back through the crimp bead. And pull it. It doesn't have to be super tight, but pretty close. And then the crimp pliers have like a little round part in them, and then a part that kind of puts an indentation into the bead.
So you're trying to indent the bead or what? What are you
Yeah,
trying to do?
see how there's a little dent in that crimp bead now?
No, your hands are too low. There we go.
Oh,
All right, a
Here.
little closer. Yeah.
yeah, let's see if the autofocus will work if I hold it there for a second. That's that reflection.
Maybe if you back, because it might be too close. So if you back up a little,
I know, but
you know what it's probably focusing on is your hands.
Yeah.
you think?
Focusing on your fingers, yeah, probably and that's close. And it's on the
There.
table still.
Yeah. No, I can see that it's been pressed in. So
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
And then what do you do?
And then
with
I would just, yeah, I would just cut this right next to the end of the bead.
Oh, that's it. You don't have to
Mhm.
glue, you don't have to.
If you're worried about the bead being too big, like I have had these pull out, it's not impossible. So I usually do put a little bit of jewelry glue at the end, but it's not usually necessary. And
What
then
is
I would
your
just do the
favorite
same
jewelry
thing on
glue?
the other end with a jump ring.
Which jewelry glue do you recommend, Tonya?
I think I have, Eileen's actually makes a jewelry glue, but you can use super glue too. I use that all the time.
Of course, I have a history of gluing my fingers together.
I know, you have to be really careful with that stuff. I'm too impatient, like I want it to dry too soon, so I'll be testing it and then that's how I get glue on my fingers. So you have to just like put it on and then like walk away.
So when you do the jump ring, you use the crimping bead also?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
right. Same thing. Instead of threading it through the clasp, you would just thread it through the jump
Jump
ring.
Okay.
So you'd
I've
need,
been
yeah,
to classes on jewelry making, but nobody ever gets to the point on how to finish it.
right. I might as well finish this now that I have the now that I have the clasp on one end. I'll put a jump ring on this end.
Yeah, there's a I think a class just on how to finish jewelry would be great because that is there's a fine art to that. And there's so many techniques that can make your jewelry just really stand out, you
That's
know?
true. Well, I could do that because there's a variety of things with wire and people always like to make their own earrings.
Yeah, how to make your own jump rings, how to make, I love the coil techniques with wire to finish up thicker things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. Ooh. That can be,
Yeah, if you think people would like that, I can do that.
yeah. I think it would be great. We can schedule that.
I have to say, a lot of times when you do like bracelets and stuff like that, they just say to tie it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to tie my
No,
bracelet.
yeah,
I
that
want
doesn't
it to
fly
look
with me.
nice. And so that's why I've never seen anybody ever talk about how to finish.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that you asked.
Yeah,
So
that's
Stan,
what does it. The finishing, it makes it, if it's now jewelry when you
the
finish it.
thing with using crimp beads and jump rings is if you can find the jump rings that are soldered, that's ideal so that the string won't pull through that gap in it.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just like to make sure that it's really, I'll usually take 2 pair of pliers and just make sure it's really snugged up nicely together, Anyway, so I've got my crimp bead threaded on and I'm just threading on the jump ring just like that.
Okay, just right, yeah.
Back through the crimp bead. There we go. Yep, just like so.
And then you do your smashing thing, right?
And you do your smashing thing.
And you start with the one in the back or the front on that plier?
I usually use the one in the back because it has a bigger little,
Okay.
the thing that makes the divot. I think the other one, I don't know, maybe the other one's just more for kind of flattening it, even though it's still kind of rounded.
As I recall, it is the one that creates the divot is the one in the back. I'm looking at mine now. And then round it, you do the front one. So you do 2 steps.
Like 2 beads.
You basically, I'm going to grab my.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you do 2 steps. Yeah. Which I didn't do, but it seems to work okay. Yeah.